Hello, welcome to Chapter 1, Modern Project Management. In this chapter, we're going to talk about why project management is important, what a project is and how it differs from routine work, the importance of aligning projects with an organization's strategy, and balancing the technical and social-cultural sides of the project. This slide is one you'll see often in this course. It shows the different chapters in the book and how they relate to each other. The highlighted rectangle is where we are right now, at the introduction to project management. So, what is a project? I'm guessing we all know what a project is, but how would you define it? For this course, we'll define a project as a one-time effort designed to meet customer needs. Now, keep in mind that the customer could be an external customer or it could be an internal customer. A project has a well-defined objective, a defined lifespan, usually involves people from several different areas of the business, has a life cycle, and has specific time, cost, and performance requirements. In simpler terms, a project has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Here are just a few examples of different projects. Now remember, this list only has a few. There's plenty more that could be added. Examples of projects that I've worked on include needs assessments, training development, software development, all the way down to something such as writing a paper, which you all can relate to as well. So what is a program? A program is a series of events or multiple projects that continue over time. There's no specified start and no specified end date. This slide provides an example of how projects are different from routine work. I'm guessing each of us has experience with at least a couple of these. Remember, on the project side, they are a one-time event with a start, a middle, and an end. On the routine work side, it's something we do often, usually without an end associated with it. As we talked about earlier, every project has a start and an end, so it has a life cycle. The illustration here shows us what the project life cycle looks like. The first stage is defining the project. Why are we doing it? The second is planning the project. It's the what and the how of the project. Next is executing the project. This is the doing portion of the project. And finally, the closing or end of the project. You'll notice that the phases are not separate. They actually overlap each other. This often occurs as a project is moving along. People realize that they need to add information or they need to change the definition of the project or even readjust the execution. Therefore, the phases may overlap each other and don't start and end on specific dates. We just discussed the life cycle of a project, and here's a little bit more detail on that, especially around the overlap piece I was just talking about. During the execute phase, the project manager will need to oversee or monitor and control the work being done on the project. In some cases, that work will need to go back to planning. In others, the execution may need to be revised, but hopefully the monitoring will show that the quality is good and the project can move on to the closing phase. The project manager has an important role in overseeing the various tasks and resources within a project. They're usually the face and voice for the customer, they provide direction to the team, and ultimately they're responsible for the success of the project. Being a project manager is not without its challenges. As I said earlier, the success or failure is ultimately the project manager's. The project manager must gather the right people, the right time, and make the right decisions. What's the challenge there? Knowing what is right. Who are the right people? What is the right time? And how do you make those right decisions? And though the project manager is responsible for the success, they don't usually have the authority to dictate or set work priorities for their team members. The team members may be working on several different teams with several different project managers, and each project manager might have their own top priority for the team member. So what does a project manager do when two different projects have different priorities? Well, that becomes the dilemma for the project manager. The use of project management has increased in the workplace for several reasons, some of which are listed here. The compression of the product lifecycle is one of the reasons. Companies are competing to get products out the door quickly before their competitors and gain market share. Using project management can help them streamline the process and enable them to do so. The triple bottom line, or plant, people, and profit, is driven by the concern around global warming and sustainability. Businesses can't focus only on maximizing their profit anymore. They need to be aware of their effects on the environment and society. Consumers have really been speaking with their purchase power and saying, we need to know that you are caring for the environment and the society in which we live. And this can partially be achieved through effective project management. Another is small projects that can represent big problems. Many companies don't spend a lot on their small projects, yet those smaller projects can have a major impact on their bottom line. Companies are starting to become aware of this, and they have begun implementing project management strategies even on their smaller projects, which is another reason that project management has increased recently. As I've just explained, there's been an increased need and use of project management. This means that there are more and more projects to manage. So how does an organization manage them all? Organizations are moving more to a centralized approach for this. This entails governance of all project processes and practices, and the goal is to improve project management within the organization as a whole. The list here details some of the outcomes provided by the centralized project management group within an organization. One area the centralized group will be focused on is ensuring the project objectives align with the overall strategies of the organization. This is a crucial factor because if they don't align, resources are wasted, managerial decisions could conflict, resulting in confusion and dissatisfied customers and team members. We know that in order to be successful, a project manager must have both technical and socio-cultural skills. But which do you think is more important? And which one leads to greater success? So it's really a trick question because the answer is there needs to be a fine balance between the two. That fine balance can be found somewhere between the science and the art of project management. A project manager must be able to oversee resources, such as people, schedule, and budget, which is both an art and a science. They also need to improve communication with all stakeholders, which is difficult to do as no two people have the same communication style. They also need to create total organization that goes beyond one project. They need to be looking out for the whole organization, not just their specific project. Project management really is about finding the yin and yang of technical and socio-cultural skills. Some important takeaways from this lesson include what a program is, what a project is, and how the two differ, and the project life cycle. In the next presentation, we'll discuss project selection and organization strategy. So if you have any questions, concerns, or thoughts regarding this lecture, I invite you to visit the discussion board under Chapter 1. Hopefully some of your classmates will jump in with their thoughts and ideas, and I'll be there to provide mine as well. Thanks.